It's a fabulous Friday again. Oh, the day after Halloween, I might mention. We had a great Halloween here. It's always amazing to me that when routines are in place and life happens about the same, I'm always amazed at how well Halloween goes. So let's talk today about speaking the language of children. What we've been talking in class about here is allowing children to solve their own problems, right? And as we've talked about that, it's been a little bit tricky because some of the students have had questions about, yes, but we've been talking about accepting the authority that's ours as caregivers, as teachers, as parents of children. And we talked about that in the first video. So if you want to go back and look at that, it's in the first video. It's called adultification, right? And that is that we've gotten used to talking to adults and we've forgotten how to accept the authority that is ours just by being an adult in children's lives. The other thing that they've brought up in question is, well, how do we let them make their own decisions and solve their own problems developmentally, right? And that obviously plays a huge piece, right? As they get older, they're more able to solve problems if they've had opportunities to try that with support as younger children. We've also talked about control changes, right? As we've talked about, for example, my student teacher right now, last week taught a lesson about friendship. We've had some just normal, typical friendship problems, right? A, I don't have a friend, or B, I don't want to be your friend, or C, they don't want to be my friend, and I don't know what to do, right? So as we've been talking about, we've had a couple of friendshipping lessons. And so as she taught this morning class, this last week, she pretty much controlled, okay, so this is what you could do. If you didn't have a friend, you could go and sit on the buddy bench and look and wait for somebody to come and be your friend, or you could sit on the buddy bench and look outward and see if there's somebody out there that you want to play with and move forward, right? Then when we move forward, what do? How do we say, I want to be your friend? So she connected it to connections. She connected it to connections. So she talked about connections and said, well, let's look at our name tags. You have an A and I have an A, or I'm wearing stripes and you're wearing stripes. And once we find these connections, then we can start to form a relationship, right? Which I think is how we do it in adult life, right? Or in adolescence. Making a friend is never the easiest thing that we do. But as we learn those skills of looking for connections, then it's easier for us to have a relationship. So I digress a bit as we're talking about problem solving. So in the morning class, she said, so we've talked about this and you could make a friend like this, or you could make a friend like this, going to the buddy bench or whatnot, right? Making a connection. So as we debriefed at the end of the day, I said to her, what kind of control did the kids have in solving that problem today? And she looked at me and she said, I did all the solving, right? So sometimes being that adult in their life, we want to do all the solving for them. We want to make it easier for them, right? When in reality, if we shift our control, right, to be scaffolding for them rather than the hammer and the nail, then we support them in how to make decisions and how to solve problems. And so one of the things that I want to talk about today is how to do that, right? Perfect example, again, afternoon class, they said we were having a little bit of an issue with some groups, right? Excluding. You can't do this because you're a boy. You can't do this because you're a girl. You can't do this because you don't have stripes on or whatever. And so they were excluding each other. And she just opened it up. She just said, boys and girls, we're seeing a problem. We had a lesson about friendship last week, and I've watched this week, and we're seeing this problem on the playground where some people are feeling bad because they can't go down the slide or they can't play with this group. And she said, what are we going to do about that? Oh my gosh, it was beautiful, right? The kids came up with all of these ideas, and she was able to support, so that when somebody would say, well, you just gotta look and see if they have stripes on. And so then she would say, but what if I don't have stripes on? I don't have stripes on. So if I don't have stripes on, then you're telling me that I can't play in your group, and that's making my heart kind of hurt. I don't know what to do. Then somebody else would say, well, so if we just don't have groups and nobody feels bad. Whoa, right? It was amazing to have them come up with that scenario. Did it take time? You bet. Did it take scaffolding to move around them, right? Give them that support that they needed around them? You bet. But the amazing thing was the difference between the teacher controlling it in the morning, right? You can do this and this and this to help solve the problem, or them coming up with it. Anyway, it was a total different outcome outside. So we have this large group and then we go outside. There was a lot more friendships, new friendships being tried out, being made while they were there in the afternoon class than happened in the morning class. And I think it's because of the way that we approach it, right? If we teach them how to solve problems, right? A lot of times we can do that via our personal narratives. And when we personal narrative, then we tell them, yeah, that happened to Mom the other day. I was having a really hard time trying to figure out how to make a friend with my neighbor across the street. I've just tried for so long. And finally today I went over and said, hey, I saw you at the rec center yesterday. Yeah, I go to the rec center too, right? And so we were able to talk about it. And now we're talking about our kids. We kind of became friends because we had a connection, right? So using yourself, what's the word that I want? I can't remember, but it makes you real in their life, right? Usually they just think of adults as these people that are here to help us, but it makes you real when they recognize that, oh, you struggle with the same thing, some of the same problems that I do. So as we help them to solve their own problems this week, I hope that we'll think about shifting the control, right? Thinking about what's developmentally appropriate for their age, because that's going to make a difference on how much we support. And then accepting the authority that's ours to be able to say, I can do this, I can let them solve the problem with the support, and because this is what I know about this age group, right? So let's move forward. Let's help the kids in that responsibility journey. There's another one out there. I can't remember which number it is, but we've talked about how to help kids accept the responsibility that's theirs by just changing how we talk, right? And so let's go. Let's keep parenting, and we can do hard things this week. Make it a great week.